Ready?
Hello and welcome to Rhythm and Pixels, the video game music podcast. This is the podcast where I can hit the record button at the right time.
Sometimes you can.
We're your hosts. I'm Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Every week we hang out, we listen to great video game music based on a topic that either we choose or you choose. We like it if you choose.
Sometimes we just throw darts at the board, and wherever they land, we choose the opposite of where they land.
Oh man, last time it landed on me.
So that was an odd topic.
So, this week we got a new topic. Last week I was on vacation. Pernell was on vacation at MagFest.
I was festing some mag.
Do you have any cool stories? Like any highlights you wanna talk about on the show?
To be honest, yes and no. Like I actually, as in recent years, I haven't really partook much of the actual mag scene because when I go, well, two things. One, I have a difficult time investing interest in games that are out on display because I'm like, if I want to play some, I likely have it at home. Yeah. And I don't want to wait in any long lines to get my turn. But the main reason I go down there is for what is known as the MagFest Pokemon League.
Yes.
Now, and I'm a part of a group called the East Coast Pokemon League.
East Side
Yes,
Pokemon.
right. East Coast.
What's an example of an East Coast Pokemon?
Pikachu.
And what makes the East Coast Pokemon flow different from the West Coast Pokemon flow?
Well, we're kinder, gentler. We have water, things like that, and a variety of seasons. But no, it's like it's just a fan group that we started a couple of years ago for the East Coast Pokemon League, and basically it's a Facebook group and we have a forum page where we just try to discuss Pokemon and build union. But from that, collaborating with MagFest, the MagFest Pokemon League was born. And I am the Steel Gym leader for both MagFest and ECPL.
I love that you're the Steel Gym leader because I think that's like fitting for some reason. Like you're steel, hard as steel.
That's right. Yeah. I push through all adversity, a little soft sometimes, but ultimately the wall comes up and it comes tumbling down on top of whatever gives me grief.
What do you think your win ratio was?
I actually think I was around 60-70%. I actually did a lot better than I thought I would.
So you stomped a bunch of kids?
And adults. There's actually more adults than kids. That's the funny part. Like,
Pokemon's been around like 25 years?
Came out in 95 in Japan, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
Came out in the States in 98 or 99. It came out in the States. But it was a lot of fun doing it. Like we basically set up shop there. I would show up for my shift, and people would come up. You could register a total of 9 Pokemon, and you had to use between those 9 a team of 4 at a time to take out as many of the 18 gyms as possible. And then whoever had the most block of people with the most badges entered the final round that Saturday night, and they had like a big tournament, like best of 16 or something like that.
Oh, that's cool.
But it was amazing. Like a lot of it's very social, very friendly. Also, it's just kind of fun to kind of have people show up and have battles with you. And you're conversing, and I get really into them. Oh, come on, how'd you do that to me? What move is that?
I love that. Yeah.
And like I get really excited about it.
Oh, cool.
And aside from that, I also talked to a couple friends of mine. My friend Paul, guy, he does too many games. He has a booth there. He sells stuff and advertises sometimes. So I hung out with him for a bit. And of course, my friend that runs Red Star Costumes. No, sorry. Yeah, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I hate myself right now.
We'll look it up. But like a cosplay, costuming.
Costuming shop.
Cool.
And just stuff like that. So it was overall a good time. And I hung out with friends, of course, as well. Just a good time.
Yeah, and you were down there for that crazy snowstorm.
Oh, yeah. That was a blast. I got a new car recently. I went from 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, it's a change, isn't it?
Yeah, and the first snow of the season was one of my first long-distance trip in the blasted thing. So I was terrified. And it handled fairly well, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure if it was anything more than like 2 inches of snow sitting on the ground and freezing, it'd be a catastrophe.
Oh,
but
man.
We'll see when I get there.
All right, so today's topic. Why don't you explain what you think today's topic is? What it is to you, because it's different.
Basically, we were trying to come up with some topic ideas, and then for some reason, this one just kind of came out of nowhere for me. The idea being memories. And when I say that, it could be one of two things, I suppose. It could be either a specific track that when you hear it takes you back to a memory that may or may not even relate to the track. Or it could just be a track that you really have a bond with, like a certain fondness. And I'm not talking the usual, oh, this track sounds awesome, it has a bass line or something. I mean, literally, you hear this track and you smile. It brings you back to a center of sorts.
Yeah, so on the show, I usually try to, well, I mean, I don't play a lot of games, so a lot of the tracks I play are from games I usually haven't played before or only have like a little bit of exposure to. So for me, I find this show as more of an exercise in music appreciation. And discovering new things that I may not know about and may really enjoy. So this episode is all about nostalgia.
Yeah.
And I like to steer away from that on the show because there's different age groups, different genders, different backgrounds. Nostalgia is going to be different for everybody. What we have as nostalgia isn't going to be the same nostalgia that the other person has, who's maybe 10 years younger or 10 years older.
But I think that kind of adds a certain flavor to the social interactions too. Like I was telling you about my nephew who has no idea what Mario. He told me, "You ever heard that Mario Run?" I'm like, have you ever played a real Mario game?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's fun to like share these things, but like to expect everyone to have it, like you can't expect everyone to have that same kind of nostalgia. But for me, this episode, I have a lot. It really made me think about it. So it's a even number episode. So I'm gonna start with my track here. So every track I'm going to play today are tracks that when I was younger in like middle school, grade school or whatever, I recorded on a little tiny pink Walkman.
Oh!
From like the 90s, or the 80s. Like one of the very, very first Walkman recording device things. It was bright pink and I used to listen to Vanilla Ice on it. I had Vanilla Ice, I had MC Hammer, and then later on, I had Digital Underground doing the Humpty Dance.
It's your chance.
I loved all that stuff. So all of these tracks that I'm going to play are stuff that I recorded either on that or later on. So this is the first one that I ever recorded on that little tape recorder that I got way into when I discovered that if you leave a game, whether it's on the NES or on the Game Boy, if you leave it on that title screen, that song is usually way longer than you expect.
That is very true, and it always blew my mind when that happened because, like, why they put this much work into a title? Like Mega Man 3 is notorious for that. Like the song is awesome and lengthy.
In Solstice.
Solstice? Oh yeah, that's right. You played. That was me, right?
Yeah, you played that one. That thing is like 8 minutes long. So I'm playing. This is the title theme to Revenge of the Gator, which is a pinball game for the Game Boy.
Oh, I remember that.
We don't have a composer for this one, but it's pretty great. I think you're gonna like this. It's really fun. And it really captured my imagination when I was younger. So I hope you enjoy it. This is the title theme to Revenge of the Gator for the Nintendo Game Boy.
Revenge of the Gator.
Revenge of the Gator.
Watch your face off.
Revenge of the Gator.
Take you to this ice
cream. Gonna sneeze now. This is the Gators. These are three Gators. They're dancing around on the Game Boy screen, and they spin around, and then they jump, and they do the thing with a pinball game. It's Revenge of the Gator.
But they lack canes and top hats. I don't know how that works.
So this is Revenge of the Gator for the Game Boy. This is the title screen, which I remember being a lot longer when I was younger. But Pernell found the composer information. This is Hiroaki Suga. and it was developed by HAL Laboratories.
This was one of my favorite developers actually for years.
And why is that?
Kirby, man.
Oh, Kirby.
I didn't realize they had other games up until a point, but I thought the first time I heard of them was when Kirby's Dream Land came out. And from that point on, pretty much anything that came out of their house was gold. Kirby 2, Super Smash Bros. Eventually. God, I love HAL. They do great stuff.
So this was really fun, and I really liked the animation in the opening. Like it was totally unexpected to me that they would have like the little gators would come out and they would just dance and spin around, and they would come out and do it over and over again.
Oh, Adventures of Lolo was also.
Oh, Lolo, yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry for cutting you off. I was like, I gotta say it. It's in my head.
No, that's all right. It's real short. I like the little end part to this thing.
I'm just jamming to it because I swear.
Yeah, this is like, I know this is your style.
I'm actually disappointed to hear that they didn't have top hats and canes on this intro dance.
Because of this part, right? Because you can hear him go, waving, goodbye,
Jamming.
And we're jamming, and we're waving, and we're waving.
They're doing the kicks
and
on the stage.
Yeah, and they're gonna. Boy, they coming back.
Go! But yeah, this is an awesome track.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it. So, shorty but coolio. Shorty-o coolio.
I was kind of surprised of that. I went to look after finding the composer to this, and since I know that HAL did this one and HAL also did Kirby's Pinball Land, I was wondering if it was the same composer, but it actually wasn't. They got somebody else to do Kirby Pinball Land's music.
What is your first track?
All right. Well, I'll go on to the why afterwards, but the track I'm going to choose first is actually the athletic theme from the game Super Mario World. I think it's the first track I ever picked from a Mario game in the whole show, which is a shocker. But the composer, as we all know, is Koji Kondo. So let's jam it out, get our running shoes on, and have a ball. We're back. Oh gosh, we're back.
We back, yo.
Welcome back. You were just listening to the athletic theme from the game Super Mario World, composed by Koji Kondo on the Super Nintendo. Now this game...
Well, this song is like iconic. This is a really iconic song.
Very much so. To this day, I think it's also amongst the favorite athletic themes in the series history, to be honest with you. And the reason why I picked this particular track goes back to the go-go 90s, when I was still a poor lad who was getting a lot of his games as hand-me-downs from his uncle. Super Nintendo comes out. He was in high school at the time, and he had a job, so of course he had the money to save up to go out and buy it when it came out. He bought the system, Super Mario World, and Final Fight. And he lived at my grandfather and my aunt's house. Now, whenever he was home, we would go upstairs to his bedroom, he'd set the game system up, and we'd play Mario World, and of course, being the resident family gamer, I was expected to beat the game at a decent time. However, that was sort of impeded by the fact that my uncle also discovered girls around the time the Super Nintendo came out. So he started to disappear a lot, going out with his friends and meeting girls and going to, hanging out and things like that nature. So what that meant was access to the game system was not necessarily there, because if we were go over to the house and he was not there, my Aunt Mary, who'd be sitting downstairs, would not let us go upstairs to play games.
Oh, man.
She'd make us sit downstairs and watch Jeopardy and not drink her Coke. Because if you touched her Coke, she'd kill you.
I love that little detail.
Oh, yeah, that was a very important detail, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening a lot of time is we would show up to the house, and if Johnny wasn't there, it was my uncle, we'd be stuck in the living room, and my brother and I, sometimes just me, and we'd have to sit there and try to come up with ways to get past my aunt to go upstairs and play Super Nintendo without being caught.
That's great.
Thankfully, she was kind of old, so if you could catch her at the right time or during the right puzzle in Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, she'd stop paying attention, and you tiptoe past her. Kid you not, literally tiptoe up the stairs, turn the game on, and you're playing at the door closed, hope she doesn't realize you're gone. And sometimes she wouldn't realize, she'd go, "Where are you at?" And start trying to find you in the house. It was a very strange time in life where literally you would find yourself trying to hide from your aunt in her own house to play video games in your uncle's room.
That's hilarious.
Without being captured.
Without being captured to watch Jeopardy.
That's right, because if you were captured, you and Pat Sajak got better acquainted because you were stuck watching these simple puzzles like, oh, I'm a grade schooler and I can answer these questions. How is it these adults can't? But, yeah, that was definitely a fun time in my life, and I played through Final Fight that way. I played
That's awesome.
through Mario World that way.
I remember being so disappointed when Final Fight didn't have Guy.
Me too. It was very sad. Also, didn't have 2 players.
Oh, that's right. It was only 1 player. Yeah, I guess I think they wanted to like rush it out the door or something. They really wanted to get it on like that early launch like list of titles.
They made a lot of weird changes to that game. They took out Guy. They took out 2 players. They moved some of the music around because they cut out an entire stage. So they took the music from that stage and put it on the Bay Area, which was kind of odd. Yeah. But it worked, only because I ended up playing through the game and later in life, because I never got that far in the arcade. And the industrial zone is a load of crap. Like, I hated that level so much. Like, I'm glad it wasn't a Super Nintendo game.
No, I didn't have a Super Nintendo at all, and actually until high school. I think I got a cheap one out of the flea market because we had that was during PlayStation days. But when we were younger, we had the Sega Genesis. We were a Sega family.
Oh, rivalry!
So my cousin had a Super Nintendo, and so I was exposed a little bit. I remember seeing Final Fantasy for the first time on that, like Final Fantasy 2, which is whatever 6 or
it's a number. I'm not going to.
Seeing Final Fantasy 2 on the Super Nintendo like blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute, this game changed.
Yes,
so cool, so cool.
You never found yourself so compelled to watch numbers pop up on the screen.
Yeah, but Super Mario World, I've actually never played it all the way through. I've only played a little bit on an emulator.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm not even saying that in a mean way. I mean, it needs to be remedied.
Yeah, I love platformers, and I do love Mario. I just never got around to finishing it. Now I've played like Sonic 1, 2, and 3, Knuckles to death, but.
Yeah, Mario World, like
It's
I always
a
chide.
blind spot for me.
Yeah, we need to fix that because I always chide Mario World for not having as many power-ups as Mario 3, and in some respects, also the world variety isn't as good. But the solid platforming, creative level design, the music, the atmosphere, everything about Mario World outside of those 2 things is spectacular. Like, it's just like how Mario 64 kind of set up a nice placeholder for 3D platforming, and how to this day for me it's still pretty much up the top in the top 3. Mario World is that for platformers. No matter how many other games that may even be better than it have come out, Mario World is still at the top.
It's solid. The controls are really solid. As floaty, like they just make Mario more and more and more floaty. But like that was just the game.
Yeah, in that game it was tight hopping, jump, boy.
Is that one you could like if you jump as soon as you landed you can get a higher jump, or was that just later on?
Now that came out in Mario 3.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mario 3. Sorry, Mario World.
Mario World.
I'm tired.
Mario 64.
Super Mario 64.
Super Mario 64.
Good Lorgan.
That's another game that I never. Actually, I tried playing that on the handheld, but when they released it on the DS,
it sucked on the DS.
I couldn't get into it.
It wasn't good on the DS.
All right, so I'm moving on to my track. Right, back to the '90s.
We never left the 90s.
We never left the 90s. All right, so this, or maybe a little earlier than that, this is, I've upgraded from the pink handheld Walkman to a full-on boombox.
Whoa.
And little Rob Nichols, obsessed with skateboarding, loved Skate or Die. Skate, or die. Die. So Skater Die 2 came out, and I was blown away by this game. And the soundtrack, I couldn't believe the voices they stuck into this game. And again, the opening theme, if you just left it going, was super long. It was so cool. So this is that. I mean, that music's pretty great, but it's pretty well known. I think one of the greatest tracks on the soundtrack is.
Don't oversell it, man. You gotta let us hear the track.
I think the ultimate, the best.
You're overselling it. You're overselling it.
But why don't you just decide for yourselves? This is one of my favorite tracks from the game. I think it's one of the strongest tracks. This is the ramp music. There's a separate mode in the game where you ride on a skateboard ramp, and this is the music that plays, and it's pretty awesome. So it's awesome. It's the best. Check it out. It's by Rob Hubbard, the best composer in the world. I hope you enjoy it, Pernell.
I hope so, because now there's an expectation here.
Die.
It better be met.
This is the ramp music from the game Skate or Die 2. The Search for Double Trouble for the NES by the composer Rob Hubbard.
Did they ever actually find Double Trouble?
Double Trouble was the name of the ramp, I think, right?
Maybe. Like, I was so bad at the game.
I think it was because the story was you're a radical skater dude.
Of course. In a gnarly sort of way.
And you get into trouble.
Double trouble?
No. Like you kill a dog. You kill. The mayor's wife is walking her dog, and you run into her on your skateboard, and she's all mean about it, and then you have to kill the mayor. I might be remembering this incorrectly.
I think you are.
No, at some point they're going to build a ramp, right? And all of the pages of the plans, like of the blueprints of the ramp, get blown away, and you have to go and find them. Oh, that's right. No. Second stage is you go to the mall to make money. You make the money to build the ramp, and then stage 3 is all of the pages of the blueprints get blown away on the beach, and so you have to ride around the beach collecting all the pages.
Oh, okay.
And on the 4th stage, they steal your girlfriend.
And you have to be a bad enough dude to rescue her.
I'm assuming that's the way it goes. But I think that the Double Trouble was the name of the ramp. Like you're searching for Double Trouble to put it back together.
Okay, that sounds like it'd be pretty nifty.
But this was a really interesting game where, like, it was an adventure game, kind of side scrolling, but like you collected burgers, CDs, and tacos. And you would pay Lester, and I forget the other guy's name, for skateboards that could either move you fast or maneuver better, or for extra moves. It had a deep system of different moves you could do. You have 8 or 9 different moves that you could purchase and then assign to different motions on the D-pad.
So you definitely got a lot farther in this game than I did.
Oh, it was so hard. I figured this game out. I played this to death, and then I would always get stuck on stage 3. I had to memorize stage 2 because the mall was impossible to remember where to go.
I got a feeling that's probably where I got, because I remember it being a level where you're indoors and you're basically skating around looking for cans of paint and also tacos for some reason.
Yeah.
But you just described that tacos were the currency.
Yeah, tacos are currency, which is a pretty cool world if you think about it.
I mean, as obsessed as everyone is nowadays with Taco Bell, I mean, it's not like we can't go back to that world. I'm sure people are using it as currency right now.
So the ramp is, you can play as a separate mode, and you start the game up, you can just choose to play the ramp. And it was you would just go back and forth, and you can do different tricks and try to time them to land back on the ramp. And it was actually really fun. And then I forget which episode we played it on. We played from Tour de Thrash for the Game Boy. It had the same thing. It was the exact same ramp. except that if you did a certain move at a certain score, you'd shot up into space. And it was like they had all these little extra, like little modifiers and bonuses you could do in the game. It was really neat.
Of course, I liked how you described the game. It's like, yeah, you hit the ramp and land at the right time. You get points and bonus tricks. I'm just remembering his Skin Knee Simulator 2000.
Is that a game?
That's how I play Skater Ride on the ramp
Oh,
mode.
yeah. No, wait, yeah, and then the voices, like, so there was like, Rob Hubbard did a lot of like extra sampling and like crazy like trickery with the hardware and with the available memory to put voices and all these other crazy samples in there. This track, I think, uses it a little bit more subtly. Like the bass and the drums, they sound really deep and pretty crunchy.
Crunchy. I like this track.
Crunchy. This is some crunchy stuff. But that opening theme is like super crunch.
No, that's crunchy. Like,
That's like, is that like Pringles crunchy?
yeah, kind of like sort of Donald Duck eating Pringles.
He has like no teeth, so that's really noisy.
He makes it work though. That Bill can get things done.
Does he have teeth? Did they ever draw him with teeth? That'd be weird, right?
They probably had. They always had the thing where like a guy gets hit in the mouth and he should have teeth and they all fall out. I'm sure Donald's had a scene like that before.
So yeah, the last thing I want to say about this is, as far as the composer is concerned, Rob Hubbard, he is super well-known Western composer. Eventually worked on games like Road Rash and Skitchin'.
Oh, I remember. I loved Sketching back in the day.
And these are games I love later on, as they were all released on the Sega Genesis. So.
And that wasn't impressionable youth because I legitimately did try to sketch. So.
Oh, did you try that?
Oh, I tried to sketch. It didn't go so well, but I tried it.
My brother-in-law used to do that, but he did that because he was obsessed with Back to the Future.
Ah, that's right.
And he used to ride skateboards and he would hang on the back of a car.
That's what he did in the movie. He's on the truck, riding the back of the truck.
Yeah. Dangerous stuff. Don't do this at home.
Unless you really want to. Then
Unless
go
you-
nuts.
Actually, if you want to be a radical dude, you should go do it.
You should,
Oh wait, my brother-in-law listens to the show.
but only with a helmet.
I'll call them out. His kids are going to hear that.
Your dad, that means their dad will have to watch out for them to see they want to follow in father's footsteps.
Yeah. So what you got?
Okay, now that you're done, corrupting the adolescents.
Yeah, I've got enough. So if I went from my little cassette player to the boombox, what are you up to?
Well, one of the emotions that can convey memory-wise that with this is the feeling of togetherness and friendship. So this track will definitely fill that niche for me, and I'll explain why after it's done being played. That track is called "I Really Want to Hurt You" by the artists Kiyotaka Sugimoto and Ryo Nagumo from the game Poppin' Music 1.
Oh wow, cool, another Poppin' Music track.
I have to, man, for the Memories episode.
So Poppin' Music 1,
Poppin' Music 1,
the first one.
the very first one.
「いつか
Well, if you're still listening after hearing like 3 minutes of Japanese vocals and some really funky back riffs,
funky tambourine.
Yes. You just listened to the song called I Really Want to Hurt You from the game Poppin' Music 1, composed by Kiyotaka Sugimoto and Ryo Nagumo. Now, why did I pick this track? Well,
you love poppin' music.
I genuinely do love poppin' music. But in addition to the fact that I adore this game, I also attribute it very highly to pretty much almost the entirety of my social circle at present, because back to the 90s, because that's where everything happened, I used to play games like Parappa the Rapper and I guess at the time really that and Bust a Groove / Bust a Move.
Yeah, back then that was what we had.
Yeah, it was all we had and we liked it. So I go to my first anime convention, which was NecoCon R at Virginia Beach in 1999, and I entered the Bust a Groove 2 tournament. And this is before the U.S. version came out, so it was Bust a Move 2. And I met a few people there. One being a woman named Renessa, and another person that went by the name of Lynn. And this Lynn person was obsessed with this game I'd never heard of called Poppin' Music. And she would just ramble on and on about it. And we became friends, and we would talk online on ICQ and America Online Instant Messenger.
Nice.
And she suggested that I come out to KatsuCon 2000 to try this game with her and meet some of her friends.
Yeah, that's when we met up.
Actually, no, this was before we met even, I think. We met like in 2001.
Oh, yeah, no, I think you're right. Because I went to Otakon 99 and 2000, DJing those 2 years, and then I went to KatsuCon. So I'm sorry. This is your story. I'm sorry.
This is your tale.
This is your time.
So, like, I show up at this convention. I was kind of smitten by her, too, so that was a large part of, like, I got to go do this. I can get along with it. And I meet a bunch of her friends who honestly are still friends of mine today. David, Malcolm, and a couple other people, too. And at this point, we play this pop music game on the Sega Dreamcast using, dry Dreamcast controllers. It was built to be, a bunch of buttons that you hit, like a scale of 9 buttons. The notes fall down the screen like piano scales. You have to hit the buttons or combinations of buttons to time at the beat. But back then, we didn't have the arcade set up because it was pretty much a bootleg port from Japan of Pop Music 1 and 2. So we played on the Dreamcast controllers, 4 players.
Wait, on the Dreamcast controller?
Yeah, we had Dreamcast controllers, but all the players had access to all the buttons. So we had to go, okay, you control the 2 left buttons, you control the 2 right buttons, and we still failed Classic 2. We still failed songs with 4 people controlling buttons. It was sad, but fun. So I was kind of embarrassed about liking the game because, fast forward, this was before I was into import games and before I was really into Japanesey things. Like anime was still kind of like a thing I liked but didn't tell a lot of people about it. So it turns out one of the guys there sold me a burned copy of the game for $5. He became a friend of mine post then, and this is still a funny story because he's like, if I know we were going to become friends, I wouldn't have sold it to you. I'd have just given it to you. So I became obsessed with the series so much that I went to ICQ and started trading interesting, let's say, wares for Poppin' Music games when they released because I had to have the newest game, but I didn't want my friends to know I was playing it. So I was going, what's that weird hokey Japanese game? No one cares about it. But then I'm in my bedroom like, do hit buttons, Japanese girls singing songs, and it was great. So eventually I became known as the guy that was like, how'd you get all these games? How'd you get access to them? You didn't even play the games. Like, well, I had to know what I was playing so I could make fun of it. I mean, come on. But eventually I became more confident in telling people. I was like, hey, the games are awesome. I became friends with all these people. I eventually started going to Chicago and hanging out with people that played these music games. That includes Dance Dance Revolution, Guitar Freaks, and Beatmania, and the whole shebang. Rob and I bonded heavily because of DDR.
Guitar Freaks?
And Guitar Freaks, actually, yeah.
Or Gitadora, whatever it's called now.
Yeah, now it's like Gitadora Tri-Boosters. Oh, that's a weird name.
Drumania.
But, pretty much my entire social scene. I mean, I have friends that don't fall into that, but this also came in my life, a period of my life where I was really low. And through this game and the games in this Bimani series, my social circle expanded widely. I made a lot of friends that I still have to this very day. We don't even have access to the games half the time. Except now, we have round 1, which a bunch of them are now located at, so we can actually play them again.
Yes.
But, to me, I attribute Bimani music games and music games in general to pretty much the majority of my social network, and I will always hold them in a very positive light for that.
Yeah.
So that's why I chose this song.
Yeah, no, those games are really special to us. And I think a lot of people have that same kind of history with these things, because it's a very social thing to do, like to go out and listen to music, and then also social to play video games. And so combining those two things together, it's a very potent mix.
And I completely forgot to even mention, I also owe my entire taste in music to pop and music. Why, you ask? Well,
there's a lot of different genres in this game.
Oh yeah, there are. Now, before I played pop and music, I didn't have taste in music at all, really. I basically listened to whatever was on the radio. So my family listened to a lot of Motown, R&B, Fresh Prince, back when Fresh Prince actually did music.
Oh yeah.
Hammer, MC Hammer, the usual shebang. Heavy D and the Boys. Yeah, I'm old. And that's what I listened to. And then,
dude, I got those LPs right behind me.
Nice. And in high school, my friends listened to like Nirvana and Red Hot Chili Peppers, Grateful Dead, ex-stoner music, whatever. And I listened to that music for a while. And then eventually I learned to listen to Rent because they liked Rent. But once I started playing pop and music, all of a sudden you had these genres, some of which didn't even exist. Like you had classic, which is classical music. Pop was meant to be sort of like a popish theme or poppy. They had J-pop. They had Riot Girl. All sorts of stuff. And then they had Choco Pop and Twee and all that. And I really sunk my teeth into Twee.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that was when I was listening to like the Aprils and Biss and all these other bands from the UK and Japan. And then that became my interest. That spanned even further until eventually I was listening to like shoegaze music, still Twee music, and just crazy stuff. Like people listen to what I listen to and they're like, what the heck is this stuff that you like? I was like, I like noise that sounds awesome.
I also got you into dream pop, right?
It did.
Dream pop and shoegaze.
Mm-hmm. It spawned from Twee, stepping into shoegaze, and then when shoegaze finally made an appearance in pop music, I flipped out. It's like, finally, it's here. I get to hear what they think of shoegaze music, and it was really good. So, such fond memories. This is a great time.
That's good, yeah. So my last track is from... years later, past the boombox that I was obsessed with trying. I was getting into DJing. I was getting into music. I was coming off of doing tracker style music and using samplers and sequencers, and I got really into what I could do with CDs. And then the Sony came out and had this mini disc format.
I think I kind of remember that.
Okay, so it was like a CD but smaller in a cartridge, and it was recordable. And I was like, yes, I need this. So I saved up some money, and I bought a small Walkman style mini disc player recorder.
I gotta say, just off the record,
it's amazing.
On the record because we're recording.
We're recording on the record.
I love the fact that your essence of memory was like your journey through progressive recording of music you liked.
Yes. There had to be a way to capture this stuff. I couldn't find soundtracks. I had to make my own. And also, like when I was younger, I couldn't explain why it fascinated me, why I was so into it, or I didn't realize that maybe these were the same composers. Like, why did this Konami music rock so hard, But like it did.
Yeah, it did.
So this was the era of the Dreamcast. So around that same time, and I started getting really, really into vertical shooters and fighting games. And this is where I became less of a gamer and more of a guy who just played two games a whole lot. So I had to pick some, because I used to copy a lot of soundtracks, and I would listen to them all the time. This was a kind of a weird time of my life, so a lot of this music meant a lot to me because I listened to it all the time, because I didn't have... There were no commercial mini discs made in America. So I couldn't go out and just buy like Nirvana or like Nine Inch Nails on a mini disc.
No, wait, just so I can make sure though. But overseas in Japan, you could buy like a Nirvana album on mini disc,
or whatever,
like bands,
Japanese bands, yeah. But not in the States. So all I had on mini disc were either stuff that I was doing myself or stuff that I recorded directly from the Dreamcast. Okay, I'm gonna pick one from a vertical shooter, which I love today. We still talk about it, from Gigawing 2. For the Dreamcast. This is the first battle theme, which is the first stage music by Yasushi Kamenishi, and it's really different. So different from what I would expect from a shooter. So I hope you enjoy it. You're listening to Battle Theme 1, which is actually the boss music from the game Gigawing 2, developed by Capcom for the Dreamcast, composed by Yasushi Kamanishi. And yeah, I would listen to this all the time because it was just rocking. Like, driving to this music is the best.
I naturally just started kind of tapping my fingers to the desk here with like a clomping sound because it goes very well with it. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I have a lot of just hours and hours and hours and hours perfecting the runs on these games. And this game, it's not, there's better like bullet hell shooters out there because they had like the reflect power to reflect bullets. So the game would just throw everything at you. And there was a lot less skill involved in dodging and just managing when you could reflect bullets.
Well,
but granted, it was still really hard.
I remember playing through this with you as we did. I think we did a full on. If it was 2 players with you, and I did 4 players another time. But
yeah, it was 4 players.
I just remember doing a lot of dying in that game, and a lot of course, the characters screaming their special moves was fantastic.
Yeah, the Japanese version's insane. Because of the voices.
Also, wasn't this one of the games where you could turn the TV on its side and it had like a side play mode?
No, this is actually not one of those. Gigawing 1, yes. And I think some of the other ones definitely from Capcom. But Gigawing 2 was unique in that it was 4 players, so it was actually a full widescreen. Like, it used up almost the entire screen.
Oh, nice.
Well, it wasn't wide, but it was for like the 4:3 ratio screen. It had 4 players, and it used the actual analog control from the Dreamcast.
Oh, whereas usually they would still make you use the crosspad even though it had access to both.
Right, because most of these were ported from the arcade, so in the arcade you usually didn't have an analog stick. But this one actually had an analog stick, which made really minute control really good. This is where I started to learn how to play for score, which a score was ridiculous in this game, because like the scores would be like 5 billion, trillion, like the numbers would just go trail and trail and trail.
Trillion, million, billion.
Just so weird. And also, I learned that how to play these games is to play on 1 credit and to see how far you can get.
Oh yeah, because otherwise, you'll never run out of credits if you just want to beat the game. So
exactly.
You can just get blown up and kill things until it works out.
So I've only 1 credit completed this one twice.
Oh, you've actually done it before?
Oh yeah, dude. This is a time where I played a lot of games. Where I played a lot of this game.
I was say you always had a thing where you just played a lot of specific titles and mastered them.
Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty deep in my memory here.
Like, I was the man who worked the buffet, whereas you were the man that's like, I just want 1 entree and I'm going to make this count.
Yeah. Ooh, do I taste some herbs in this? Is that some thyme?
Yeah, you see, you can actually taste the hints of flavor and the uniqueness of the recipe. I'm just like, food.
Actually, no. This is one of the first times I cosplayed. It was like Otakon, like 2001 or something. I cosplayed as the professor doctor guy from this game.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
See, that's how I know I didn't know you.
I had like a lab coat
that.
a lab coat and a blue turtleneck and like a bunch of like pins.
That's I think I might have known you as an employee at the store at the time, but I didn't know you as like a person at the time.
Yeah. I wasn't a real person though.
Like, you were a clerk.
I was just a clerk playing shmups.
You were getting me my fix.
Gotta play some shmups.
Like, hey man, you got my hookup. About that.
It's hard to recommend games like these because it's like, oh yeah, it's
Do you like screaming?
Do you like being like really focused, really hardcore for like a good 2 hours?
Do you want to throw your controller?
I actually, these games live in my mind next to music games because it involves that heightened concentration.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in a different way.
When your eyes kind of cross, but you're still moving the game around.
Yeah, and you're still playing for score, and playing well means that it looks awesome. And playing well in music games means it sounds awesome.
That is very true. And it looks awesome, too.
Yeah.
All right, for my last track, I'm going to go with a different angle of memories, but the track itself is really freaking solid, so a good excuse to play this track is why I'm putting it on the show.
All right, what you got?
It's from the game Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth.
Oh, interesting.
And is the theme to Suedo's theme, and is composed by Masafumi Takeda. Welcome back. You are listening to the track Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Suedo's Theme, and it's written and composed by Masafumi Takada. It is an awesome track by an awesome composer from an awesome game.
This is very different from the other tracks on the on the episode, man. This seems dark.
Well, funny enough, it's an awesome track, but it's weird. Basically, the reason why I picked this track is because the memory that comes with it and what I feel it ties into video games in a healthy way. As you already know, of course, last year I got into a breakup scenario with an ex-girlfriend at the time. And as a grown man, it was the first girlfriend I ever had, so I can't speak to anybody who was dating regularly as teenagers into adulthood. But as a first breakup, as an adult, I tried to play it all cool and solid. That junk hurt and it stung like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
So, being a game-playing individual, I decided I wanted to kind of back away from everything socially and kind of take myself into, the escape point. And that escape point at the time, surprisingly enough, became Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth.
Huh.
It had just come out. And I originally had bought it to say, oh, this is a game that might be cool for a few minutes and put it on the shelf and forget about it. Unfortunately, I do that a lot sometimes because I play a lot of games. But due to the scenario at hand, I became obsessed with this game. I dove into it. And I never finished it, but not because of lack of interest, but because I wanted to collect every Digimon, with every move, every point in the game I possibly could.
That's the Pernell I know.
That's right.
That's the Pernell I love.
So I was like into this game. Like I plan to beat the game next month. I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to knock it out. But I was catching all the exclusive rare Digimon, like the White Rosemon, and I like to make fun of the names like Mecha Garurumon, and crazy stuff like that. And it did a lot. I mean, I'm still in that weird crunchy feeling where I'm trying to figure out, where am I going, who am I going to talk to, blah blah blah. But video games have a way of bringing people together, but they also have a way of helping you cope with problems and sadness when you want to just be away from people.
Yeah.
And to me, Digimon was that game at a very needed time for me. And I'm sure other people have games as well, like, a relative passed away. What were you playing to kind of, cover the emotions you had at the time? Yeah. So, and the track itself relates to a character in the game who I'm looking forward to seeing what his outright conclusion is, but he's a really creepy dude who would always show up when like the digital world starts to kind of overlap with the real world, because the main character is a walking bit of data who gets erased in the digital world. I'm not going to explain it because the story is really bizarre.
I don't know anything about Digimon.
I didn't either, aside from the cartoon. So playing the game was interesting, but it's kind of his own little unique universe just with the Digimon characters. And so when this digital world and real world overlap occurs, this guy would always show up. He was a scientist. He was always really obsessed with, there's the Digimon, the Japanese voice. And he would talk, and he would get really excited, but he also was really creepy, so you didn't know where his allegiance was, or if he was there to help you, or to use you, or to even hinder you. You don't really know. And right now, he still seems like he wants to help, but he's very sketchy. And I'm waiting for him to pull some kind of shyster routine on me where I got to punch his teeth in with, Fisticuffmon, or Boxing Cactusmon, whatever his real name is.
I'm assuming that's probably his name.
There's actually a Boxing Cactus.
I mean, that's probably his name. Boxing a Cactusmon.
It probably is. If it's not, it should have been. But he's awesome, and he's huge. So, yeah, definitely check this game out if you have access to it. PS4 or the Vita. Great game.
Well, this ties in good with my next track, which is part of our last part of the show, where I bring the track down, and we get into the bonus round. Bonus round.
Are you ready?
The bonus round is the part of the show where we play remixes and covers based on today's theme. Today's theme is memories. Memories from games, from feelings around games, maybe why you played those games, or around the music itself. So my track is from Mega Ran, from his album Random, which has just almost every track on this thing has just the lyrics, what he writes is just so perfect. This is he for his backing track is using the theme to RoboCop for the Game Boy, sped up a bit, and it sounds awesome. and it's all about how the things that we create and the people we love give us infinite lives.
That's an awesome theme.
So check this one out.
You know we all die,
This is fun.
but the goal isn't to live forever, but to create something that will.
2, 3,
Here we go.
infinite lives. We got infinite lives. Never say never. We're gonna live forever. Infinite lives. We got infinite lives. Never say never. We're gonna live forever.
Yo, heard you only live once. Well, I'ma disagree, cause you can live forever and forever doesn't cease. Live through your creations and the people that you teach. So I live through my music eternally through the beats. First email says I'm digging that verse. The next 4 emails I'm missing that merch. You can't take it with you, and so I never intended to. For my last interview, this is the gift I'm sending you.
Never gonna die. No, we're never gonna die. You can hear my words in this song. It'll play on after I'm gone. Never gonna die. No, we're never gonna die. You can hear my words in this song. It'll play on after I'm gone.
Heard you only live once, that's cool I suppose. But you can live forever through the songs you compose. Experiences you share, the highs and the lows. Experimentation with the flows, cause God knows. She learned more about life from Pac's works than she ever could have gotten in church. Is that wrong? Living for that song, learning from that lyric and steering others from wrong. We living off love, never needing a meal. Full from the enlightenment and warmth that we feel, yeah. Overflow of emotion from chilling, chasing the girls to floating over the ocean and maybe changing the world. First 2 emails like, hey, that's tight. Next few emails, you changed my life. Even if I inspire and people calling it timely, all you gotta do is rewind me, cause I've got
Infinite lives. We got infinite lives. Never say never. We're gonna live forever. Infinite lives. We got infinite lives. Never say never. We're gonna live forever.
They said you only live once, well I beg to differ. Cause you can live forever through the feelings you deliver. From the first raindrop to the rush of a mighty river, I give you the bigger picture, split you and leave a fissure. Open and full of hope and it's smoldering like a coaching. Proceeding with caution will never free your garden pardon. Everybody who got it and left my memory clouded, I decided instead of complaining I'd do something about it. Forever's not a time, it's a place or a state of mind. No, they never gave me mine, I elected to stay behind. There's deeds I need done, pages I haven't filled, places I haven't been through, mistakes I haven't killed, lives I haven't touched, and words I need to say. Tell me who needs forever when our forever's today. If I die, it's right on time, it's meant to be this way. Now tell me who needs forever, our forever's today. Come on.
Infinite lives. We got infinite lives. Never say never. We're gonna live forever. Infinite lives. We got infinite lives. Never say never. We're gonna live forever. Never gonna die. No, we're never gonna die. You can hear my words in this song. It'll play on after I'm gone. Never gonna die. No, we're never gonna die. You can hear my words in this song. It'll play on after I'm long gone.
All right, that was Infinite Lives featuring the D&D Sluggers, which I guess is the guy on the chorus there, by Mega Ran from his album Random, RNDM. And yeah, I didn't like that song so much at first because of the chorus. I wasn't into the chorus, but the lyrics are so good. And I feel like that's like the perfect fit for today's episode.
Well, that track definitely rolled a natural 20 for me. I was quite fond of the lyrics and the message that it presented.
Yeah, I love the message. I love the way he rhymes these words. They're almost surprising in that the rhymes aren't the words you would expect, but then they just fit so perfectly. I love it. I love the message it has. It's perfect.
Nice. Good selection. From
Great song. Greatest song ever. Better than yours.
You're post overselling the song. You're over closing the song now.
Next episode. Best episode ever.
Nothing can top this.
Nothing will.
Nothing.
No. What do you have? Because I'm curious. What did you bring?
Well, I was trying to think like what would be considered a good memory track for a remix, and I figured rather than go with the track itself, I could go with the composer of the track.
Okay.
And in this particular case, I went with the Mini Bosses.
Oh.
And their Castlevania track in particular. And the reason why I picked the Mini Bosses is because back in the day, they were pretty much the video game cover band. Like,
right, yeah.
They headlined everything. In fact, when MagFest 1 was being planned and discussed, this was also, again, before I was really into cover bands. This is when I learned about them. And we had to figure out, what kind of bands would be good to come up with. And I don't remember who selected them or how it came to be, but ultimately the Mini Bosses was selected as one of the headlining bands. And of course, other bands I remember off the top of it was like the One Ups was there too, were there. But the Mini Bosses to me from then and even now, even though I don't listen to them so much anymore, they were pretty much the epitome of what of video game cover bands. Who's a video game? Mini Boss, check them out. So I figured it would be fitting to choose my first video game cover band as my memory for a cover track. So, Castlevania by the Mini Bosses.
All right, let's check it out. We're back, yo. We're back.
So that was the mini bosses. Again, I don't know if they still do performances anymore or recordings, but yeah, they still rock. They're still awesome. To me, they're like the Grateful Dead of, or sorry, the Van Halen of video game cover bands. Like they're one of the OGs of the rock sound. And even though other bands may have come along since then to try all kinds of crazy things and get wild with their performances and whatnot, and take the spotlight, Mini Bosses still rock, and they're still worth listening to, even today.
That was one of the best covers of Wicked Child I think I've heard. It was really good.
Well, they killed it.
So for more information about the artists on the bonus round part of the show, check out rhythmandpixels.com. We'll have links to their bios, web pages, band camps, and everywhere where you can grab their music. Thanks for joining us this week on Rhythm and Pixels Video Game Music Podcast. This week's topic was, you've been listening to the topic, which was...
Memories.
Memories. Good and bad, happy and sad.
They are.
Whether it's good or bad, happy or sad.
Good, bad, happy, sad. So now we're getting Motown in the room.
Yeah, we can do that. We're good with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, why not? Hey, funny part, I just remember what that was. I was trying to. It was in my head like I know it's Motown.
No, you grew up with this. You know this.
Oh yeah, I was jamming to that stuff back in the day. I jam to it now.
Yeah, this is a cool topic.
Yeah, it honestly, who knows? Maybe it'll come up again sometime, like in a year or two. I don't know, but it's an awesome. Yeah, it's got me thinking. I was like, yeah. Because I associate a lot of memories with video game tracks. It's funny how that works.
Yeah,
it just gets stamped on there.
Music really kind of sets the mood and it sticks with you. And a lot of times, music is what makes me go back to a game in the first place.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Otherwise, I mean, the experience itself might have gone dry, but you want to hear the music in its natural habitat.
Yeah.
Natural habitat.
Well, if you have a topic for us and you would like to send one our way, or if you have any other suggestions, please send us an email.
rhythmandpixels@hotmail.com.
And if you'd like a full track listing or more information about the show or the artists on the show or the artists focused on the show, check out the website.
rhythmandpixels.com.
And you can find us on the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all at Rhythm and Pixels. On Twitter, it's actually Rhythm_N_Pixels. But if you just type it in the search, we're like the first thing that comes up.
Because we're that awesome.
It's no big deal. I got this SEO thing down.
Hey!
Oh, all right. Yeah, so we have a couple of topics planned out for the next few episodes, actually. But we're always excited to hear some new stuff. So yeah, definitely, that'd be really great to hear some more suggestions.
Oh God, yes. Because be honest, I'd rather push our topics to the bottom in favor of new fan-produced topics.
Yeah, because it kind of forces us to look for new things and try out new pants, new shirts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Get enough licenses to wear the right hat.
Licenses for the hat?
Final Fantasy 12 reference.
Oh man, I never played that. Oh, wait, no, I did. Yes, I did.
I don't think you liked it very much, but you did.
I did not, but I did finish it.
You did?
Yeah,
That I didn't know.
I did. Did you?
Oh no, I was too busy hunting creatures. I didn't have time to finish the game. I got lost in the Great Crystal, never got out.
I followed a guide to get Kiraga.
Oh, well, Kiraga does help, but the
Yeah.
Great Crystal doesn't care about your Kiraga.
No.
You get lost. Everybody beats the tar out of you. It's a jam.
Thanks for joining us. We're the Rhythm and Pixels Video Game Music Podcast. I'm Rob Nichols.
And I'm Pernell.
Have a great week.
And remember, memories are something worth cherishing. Good memories, bad memories, adequate memories, subpar memories. All spectacular and special, no matter where you get them from, no matter how you acquire them. Typically, they are not something you want to forget. Obviously, there's some, let's be honest here, but typically you want to hold on to all of them because memories are what make us who we are. They are how we become the people we are. They build us, they form us, they shape us. And without those memories, you'd be a shell of the masterful being you've become. Be happy for what you've experienced and be happy for what you will experience in the future because you're awesome. And the world needs to know that. I like this story.